this town, it might just come back to bite you. It's game on in the Senate race and in South Carolina and for control of the Senate. And many established Republicans are finding themselves challenged by candidates who are running to the right of the old guard. Right now, Senator Lindsey Graham is facing 5 underfunded Republican opponents in the South Carolina primary. 5. And one of those challengers, Bill Connor, an attorney and Army veteran, just launched a new ad using Graham's own words against him.
Conservative Republicans love Hillary Clinton, right? Just ask Lindsey Graham.
She's dedicated to her job. She loves her country. I think she is a good role model. One of the most effective Secretary of States, greatest ambassadors for the American people that I've known in my lifetime.
Did I mention that these challengers are underfunded? Still, even a low-budget jab like that, could it pack enough punch to shake up the race? Let's ask our panel, Washington Bureau Chief for USA Today, Susan Page, and CNN political commentator and Washington correspondent for The New Yorker, Ryan Lizza. Susan, you pointed out at the end of that ad, there's a Graham-Hillary hug, and it reminded you of something.
Watch out who you hug. Remember when Charlie Crist hugged Barack Obama in 2009? And it was a big factor in his Senate primary against Marco Rubio. And so I think the only thing we can conclude
He dropped out.
is that he dropped out and then became a Democrat. So I think we're going to see Lindsey Graham gradually work his way over maybe to the Democratic Party.
That's a joke, just so everybody knows.
Kidding.
But this could have an impact.
Look, Graham is not as conservative as South Carolina. South Carolina Republicans are among the most conservative in the country. Graham, I was looking this up before the show. He's 33rd in the Senate, so he can be way more to the right than he is. A lot of people think that's a good thing. He's sort of a deal cutter and a bit of a statesman. He doesn't always play to the right wing back home. So potentially there should be a little bit of anger on the right in the Republican electorate in South Carolina. He's got to watch it. He's lucky that he has so many opponents because they're dividing themselves. And if you look at any of the polls, none of them has caught fire yet. But he's got to be careful. He's got to make sure that one of these guys doesn't suddenly come out from nowhere and give him a run.
We should point out, of course, that Senator Graham is a very harsh critic of Hillary Clinton when it comes to Benghazi.
Oh, absolutely.
That he hasn't hugged her.
You think that's related in any way?
Well, look, he's got about $8 million in the bank. His nearest competitor's got a few $100,000.
That was not the most highly produced ad I've ever seen in my life. The disclaimer at the end when the guy says, "I'm Bill Connor," it sounded like he phoned it in. He's literally phoned it in.
But you never know when one of these things takes off and goes viral.
And you know what?
CNN starts playing it.
Sure.
Makes it seem really legitimate and genuine. And I think one of the problems with what Senator Graham said is not just that it made him look not so conservative, but it made him look like a part of the cozy Washington establishment. And whatever South Carolina Republicans think about being too liberal in the Republican Party, they, I'm sure, hate that Washington establishment that includes Democrats and Republicans who are willing to hug each other.
So let's talk more about a different intra-party fight, which is that in the Democratic Party, President Obama is in Mexico right now. He's talking trade and the Keystone Pipeline. But the president's own party is tying his own hands when it comes to both Keystone, although who knows what he's going to end up ruling, and trade. What is the problem the Democrats have with the trade deals?
Well, Democrats are very suspicious of trade deals. On the 20th anniversary of NAFTA, a lot of Democrats feel like that didn't really serve the interests of American workers. And so I think there's very little prospect that this trade deal, that's the Pacific trade deal and also the one with Europe, is going to go anywhere. Ironically, I think it's the one thing that might be facilitated if Republicans gain the Senate in November. I mean, that's possible that Republicans would be more willing to work with President Obama on this trade issue than Democrats are.
And look, the worse the economy is in the Democratic Party, the more opposition to free trade there is.
Because they see those as American jobs going.
Yeah, and there are a lot of economists who are second guessing the effects of globalization and tying it to the increased inequality in the United States. And it's not like the 90s when most Democrats were pro-free traders. There's a lot of angst about that, a lot more on the left than usual.